All right, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the B-voy podcast. Come on in, listen, get your ears tight because we're going to drop some knowledge
Oh
today.
yeah, we got something good we're gonna talk about today. So make sure you stay tuned.
Yep.
It's gonna be some good stuff.
If you can, take some notes, because all this information that we always try to deliver, we live it, and we're always just trying to transmute it to you guys. So hopefully it can help y'all lives out and lead you guys to the becoming the best versions of yourselves because that's what we got to do in this life. And so a big thing I want to start out with, Jordan, is just, man, as I, look at my environment and observe it to its best of my abilities on an everyday, continuously learning, I just look and from my analyzation, I just don't see people loving themselves enough, and that's a big part of life. It's like we have to love ourselves more by learning about ourselves more, to what makes us emotionally get our triggers pulled, what drives us up and down, internally, what affects our moods by the physical things that we eat, by the physical things people say to us, right? And so we're not taking enough importance of paying attention to ourselves.
And I feel like a lot of people give themselves limits already before they know what they can do. So that's why it's important to push past them, so you know your potential and you can maximize that, which is an important part of the process that we both talk about a lot, the purification process and a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, we're going to dive into this purification process,
Oh, yeah.
but not quite yet. We want to give a little bit more details before we get into that. But I look at us as human beings. We're powerful beyond measure. And a lot of us don't tap into our potential before we go. And we're not looking at how to have more longevity, vitality, these things that help us have purpose in life. And with us evolving ourselves, having a higher vibration in life, that helps everybody else. But we have to focus on ourselves first. What we focus on when we focus on ourselves impacts externally the people around us. I don't know if you know about the 100 monkey syndrome. I tapped into that a little bit on my TikTok, but it's basically the more we focus on ourselves, the more we impact our external reality. And it's a trip because when I started focusing on myself like cold-heartedly a lot, with my health, with my mindset on an everyday, I started talking to people about what I was going through, and what I was trying to impact. And they're like, well, why did you become vegetarian? Or why did you do this? And why did you do that? And the more I talked about it, the more people started asking me, how do we get to that point too? And that's when I had big realization of, man, I got to keep doing what I'm doing, because now people are starting to change or starting to think about what they're ingesting on an everyday just because of what I did.
Yeah, they just pick up on the energy in the field. They realize you're not part of the hive mind. You kind of live and doing your own thing and thriving from it. So it kind of sets an example for standing out in front of a crowd with a lot of people don't.
No, you got it. You got it. I get what you're saying. But it's just like people having realization of they need to take their lives more importantly. Just like they got a car, they get their oil change, they get their premium, they getting the tune-ups. Everything is good with their car, but they're not thinking about how they're their own car. They're their own vessel, their temple, whatever you want to call it. But you got to take care of that like you take care of your car. Like your most expensive house, most expensive piece of asset that you have, you're going to take care of that because you put a lot of money, you invested a lot of time in getting that, right? And so we have to invest in ourselves. That's what I'm trying to say. We don't invest in ourselves, which I call loving yourself more, because the more you invest time in learning about who you are, that makes you evolve. And I believe that we have been lowered down and not stressed enough by our parents, or, I won't say all parents or all families, but a lot of us, like I say with my observation when I coach certain things, it's like, I see these parents, talking their kids down, but not building them up. It's like, you got to know that, yeah, you had a setback, but that's for your biggest comeback. You hear that all the time. That's a good one. But setbacks are preparing you for your biggest comeback. And so a lot of not unlocked potential within our kids, us as adults, or even going to become adults. It's just we got to get into that mindset of love yourself. Think about every day, how can I heal myself? How can I become my own doctor? How can I become my own teacher, my own counselor, therapist, whatever it is? But because you think about it, when you go to a doctor's office, they just ask you, what's your symptoms? What you've been ingesting on it every day? What's been going on in your environment? You can do that.
Yeah, and you gotta want it for yourself too, not just for the image of it, for the people around you to see, like, that's who you are. But you have to live it. You have to wanna be better for yourself. You have to, take the action and have the strong intention and willpower to do it
Yep,
behind closed doors.
exactly. When nobody's looking, do things in secret and let people see how you thrived. And then they ask you about your story. How did you get to where you got? It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of journey that comes in, but you got to embrace the journey, love the journey, because it's a part of who you are. Speaking of journeys, Jordan, man, what got you started? What got you becoming like, a vegan and getting to the sea moss and all that stuff? What got you there?
Honestly, bro, two things: influence and information.
Okay.
Because once I started paying attention to things that I didn't know before, because it's weird, like, growing up in schools, they never taught me any of this. But until I experienced it all for myself, that's when I learned that there's a whole bunch of information out there that can lead you to this road of maximizing your potential and being the best version of you. So once I, like, had that grasp, I kind of manipulated it to where the people around me that influenced helping that, like, I kept them around me and I kept building up with them. And man, it was a long journey, but yeah, just the sea moss and the herbs and all that. It was really to better myself and show people my true self and be comfortable in it, even though sometimes I can't be, and show them that it's okay to be themselves too. Not everybody's perfect, but that's their unique way, and everybody can contribute to this collective in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, I hear you out. But what got you like, I need to like take more importance of healing my body, or what steps did you take like becoming a vegan? Like, cause that's a hard step, or just living a healthier lifestyle. Sometimes vegan, vegetarian, plant based, these fancy words that don't need to really be placed on these things, but it's just you living a healthier lifestyle. Like, what got you to that point, or even thinking about it?
Man, it was rough, bro. It wasn't like a good start. I was always in and out of the hospital. I didn't have a health insurance,
Mm,
so that was one of the big things. Like, I had to really focus on what I was doing for myself, because if I get messed up, I owe money. I owe a lot of money,
yeah.
and I didn't have the money at the time. So I was really in a struggling situation where I had to be put through a furnace and come out of it and realize what I had to do for myself to better it, bro. And yeah,
So that's what got you going.
yeah,
It's
bro.
the hardships.
The hardships of I had to go through the struggle to realize, like, there was more for me than the
Mm,
struggle, because that's all I knew at one point. So that's all I saw my potential as until I seeked the, like, bettering myself. I stopped depending on other people to uh, make sure that I'm good,
okay.
because if I was to mess up, it would be on me. It's my responsibility for myself. So it kind of also helped me take accountability of my own health in all aspects, because once I started focusing on the sea moss and the herbs, it started, like, laying over into my mental health and my well-being, and it just touched a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, most importantly, myself. Behind the closed doors, all the stuff I had to endure, and I came out of it, and man, it's hard to explain, bro. Words can't
No,
explain
it's
it, but
good,
it's a
bro.
heart fulfilling thing.
It's a beautiful thing to hear stories like this. I wouldn't say my journey was like yours. It's a tiny bit different, but because the environment that I grew up in, and I like to hear different perspectives, because everybody has their road to where they got to get to where they want to be, right, and continue to go in that direction. But it's crazy in my perspective. I knew that I need to eat my vegetables. I knew that I need to eat my fruits. But it was like growing up, it was just I'd eat whatever.
Yeah, no,
You
it
know.
was literally just eat what you can till you're not hungry. Like, that's how it was for a little bit, until I realized, like, a lot of my diseases, a lot of my, mental outrages was from what I was putting in my system. And
Mm.
once I became conscious of that, that's when I started, experimenting with myself, controlling it, and seeing results is not always going to be the result you expect. You're gonna have a lot of mess ups, but then out of that is that one success, and it's worth all the mess ups because it's like mastery.
Yep. Yep. It's like you're taking those steps forward, which you need, and you're seeing the results, and you're like, man, my past self was like this, and I see the bad parts in my past self, and I don't want to be that person no more. And so I like to say we have all these layers like an onion, right? And we can always peel those layers off, and those now are part of our past. We don't got to look back at it, but we got to be thankful for it, right? Because that got us to realization of I need to treat my body a little bit better. And that goes back to, what I was trying to say. Like, once again, I was around an environment that it taught me how to be healthy, but I wasn't choosing that route. I was just eating whatever, but I was a multi-sport athlete. So I was always burning those calories off and doing the things I needed to do. So that stuff wasn't sitting in my system. But if I could take myself back to then and realize if I would have been healthier and eating the right things to optimize my performance, oh my God. Like, I was already a decent athlete, but I could have excelled way higher than I even was, or even I thought I could be. And so what's crazy is I remember I was like, 25 after school, I just got my AA, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. Did I want to continue wrestling in college, or did I want to go back to college? Because college, you go, and it's like if you don't have a clear mindset of what exactly you want to major in and this and that, it gets hard. Because sometimes there's a lot of people that they just go to college because, it's part of society, live with your family, get out of high school, get good grades, go to college, get a job,
and
right?
Then reproduce.
And reproduce.
Repeat the same thing, file your taxes. You're not really told to think for yourself or think outside of the box. We're just kind of contained in how we can work for the agenda that's already put into place, which isn't always for our best interest.
Yeah, always. And it's just, it's part of the society and the system. And like, once again, I didn't know. And so I moved back with my parents, and I was like helping them out, working, And then I remember one day I started reading a lot of articles for whatever interest. I just see certain things that would spark my interest. And I remember reading this article that says why to be healthier in your 20s than any other age, right? And I was just like, let me read this. I'm in my 20s. Maybe I should start being a little healthier. I don't know. And so I started reading it, and the general basis of it, to short summarize everything, was if you're healthier at a younger age, it helps you with when you get sick, you'll heal faster. When you get bones and aches, they won't last as long. You won't even get as sick. You will prevent diseases. You will prevent all these things that we cause on ourselves through the things that we digest on an everyday, right? Or through our environment of our friends and stuff that we're not mentally aware of, because we stress and all these things that add to it. But it really got me thinking. It was just like, man, maybe I should start drinking more water instead of soda, because soda is bad. Maybe I should stop eating so many waffles, because Egos do have all this, and that in it. And so I became, at that moment, after reading this article, yet I had these great parents that were telling me why I should be healthy and this and that, but it clicked in that moment. And I was like, man, I got to start cutting out these, extra sugary juices, all these sodas, and the junk food. So I became more health conscious, which we all got to be. Yeah. We got to be more health conscious. So now it's a choice. Do I want to eat this cake, or do I want to eat this apple? What will the cake benefit versus what the apple will benefit? You know what I mean? And so
taste versus my fault.
No, go ahead.
Taste versus, the actual what it affects with what it does for you.
Exactly. I talk to my nephew all the time. I say, nephew, I know I'm not your mom and dad, but I am your uncle. I am blood, right? When you come in my place, I'm gonna let you know what it is, and you're not just gonna be in my cabinets. You're not just gonna be in the fridge. You're gonna ask me, and then I'm gonna say, okay, Gregory, does that taste good, or does it benefit your body? And a lot of times, it tastes good. I want some chips. I want some juice, some soda, some candy. Whoop-de-whoop-whoop, right? And I'm just like, Gregory, it tastes good, but it's not good for you. It's not going to be good for your brain, your heart, your lungs, your liver, all these things, and these are the reasons why. And I try to break down to kids, especially my nephew, why something is better for you than this, and why, you should make the decision to possibly choose this over this. And when he come to my house, he don't got no choice anyways. I'm gonna be like, hey, you gonna eat this, or you're You're gonna be hungry, and eventually he'll eat it and be like, oh, it wasn't that bad, or this and that. And it's just like, there's a lot of kids, younger individuals, but adults too.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, once again, we were just talking about being health conscious, having the choice.
And I feel like we're in just like the perfect spot as far as age and just generation, because we have people younger than us that still look up to us, like the big brother role. But we also have people, the elders, that also set the example. And it's kind of like two roads, because you see some people, living true to themselves, fulfilling things, setting a good example. Then you see the people that regret not taking the risks of doing stuff. And I feel like soaking gaming is so much important for the younger generation, because I feel like I learned everything at a young age. Mm-hmm. So if we can just relay it over, just think of the potential the kids could have if they didn't have to go through 18 years, 19 years of, being programmed to have to unlearn it, to relearn, what really benefits them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, man, the more you pay attention to life, it is an agenda. If you want to believe in it or not, there is some high elite figures, the 1% they call it, and then the shadow people that's behind them that I believe is pulling a lot of strings, especially in America. They say America is the land of the home and the free and the brave. But, man, the more you start paying attention and unlocking the truths of this world, it's like, yeah, maybe there might not be slavery no more, but we might be mentally enslaved.
And it's just a lot of, I don't know. I don't feel like I resonate with a lot of the stuff going on here, but I know I was put here, for a good reason. So I'm kind of like neutral or just observing all of it at the same time, because it's definitely a show. It feels like a show, and a lot of stuff happening just at the most random of times, but it's not even random.
Yeah. It's like the divine timing or whatever you want to call it. But we are our own characters in our own movies. Dictating our choices dictates what kind of journey we gonna go on, what kind of problems we gonna encounter, or what kind of problems we can overcome to help us learn from the lesson that we needed to learn, right? And I always say life is my teacher, and I learn from it. Good and bad experiences, I'm trying to grow. And people more so look at experience, oh, it's a trauma, it's this and that. And it can be hurtful, and we're humans. We got these emotions, and we tie our emotions to, memories that hurt us or that, are the most memorable, my happiest moment in my life. And a lot of people's happy moments is when they're kids. Mm-hmm. Or it could be retrospect, maybe not, because of their parents or their environment. Epigenetics is what they call it. You're not, you grow up a certain way because of your environment, not necessarily all the time because of the genes you get from your parents.
And a lot of the trauma, like speaking of epigenetics, what you're talking about, it's stored in the cells physically. Mm-hmm. So you have these bursts and don't realize what they are. It could be linked to, someone in like later or before in your generation going through the same trauma, but it's still living in you because it wasn't addressed. Now you got to be the one to heal it.
Yeah, what do they call it? Like generational curses or generational karmic, what's it called? Karmic traces?
Karmic, cycles.
Cycles, something like that. And I feel like once we become aware of these things, it's like, oh, you're going to have diabetes because your grandpa had diabetes and your mama had diabetes. It's like, we don't have to, it doesn't have to be, we can be more prone to it, but now we don't have to give into it and be like, oh, okay, let me keep eating the way they was eating, because they're not aware of it's not genetic or it's not like hereditary. It's just you're doing the same things that they did.
I heard a quote. It said, I forgot where it came from, but it definitely hit different. It said, history doesn't repeat itself, man does.
Ooh, that's deep. So, that's a good one.
So I definitely resonate with if you change your habits, like what I was saying earlier, influence, like you could definitely break the cycle in your family and do something that nobody expected you to do, and shit.
Yeah. So what we trying to say, y'all, is be the change in your family that affects the rest of the families.
Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see.
And it will continue to go down, and then the day you go and the day it's your time, you're going to feel good about the day. It's okay. I made my mark, right? And I impacted the people that I wanted to impact, and now I'm okay. And so let's get into why we was talking about the purification process earlier. And I do, before I dive into it all the way, I do believe, like we spoke on this a few times, that there is an agenda that the elites wanted to put on. Have you ever heard of the secret covenant?
No, I
A
haven't.
little bit? No, you
I've
haven't.
I've heard a little bit of it, but I need a refreshing, man.
Okay. So look, I brought this little file here, and you guys can go Google it, whatever. It's pretty easy to find. It's just called a secret covenant, and it's basically about this document that these high level figures basically put together, and it was like 100 years of time that they're like, we got to start implementing this now to basically control the people. And so this is why we're gonna develop and talk about the purification process, because not only did this type of stuff affect us, it affected our families, our moms and dad, grandmas, generation after generation. And so look, there's a whole lot of it. I'm just gonna state a few of them when it comes to our physical and what we ingest. So it says right here, and the fourth line, we will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. So there's a bunch of illusions and stuff that go on in America. Let me continue to go. We will use soft metals, aging, accelerators, and sedatives in food and water, also in the air. And when you start thinking about all the chemicals and stuff that are in our foods and how we don't even know half the time what the chemicals are in our foods, because there's 1,000 different ingredients, we not questioning that. Go ahead.
It's crazy too that you were talking about this, because a lot of the stuff in America, like the food, man, I hear people all the time telling me that out of the country they eat the same exact thing that they ate here, but they lost weight over there.
Oh yeah,
I've heard a lot of that.
Yeah. We got to become aware of things. We definitely got to become aware. I just want to say a few more, and then when you guys get the time, y'all look at this whole document because it go crazy. But it says we will use. Oh, I said that one already. Sorry. They will be blanked by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find the cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. I'm going to give you one more because it's, oh my God, y'all got to read this when you get a chance. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin, mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. So when you start becoming more health conscious and aware of things that we ingest on an everyday, and even when you think about chemtrails, if you want to believe that or not, the oxygen in certain areas just ain't good for our lungs. That's why we got to go out in nature and take walks where the air is cleansed. Washington, that's why we love Washington, because the nature walks in the air, just it's nice.
And just like, do you ever wonder why you always get that, like, you're at home feeling when you just around trees, like a bunch of them, and the air just feel crispy. Like,
yeah.
It feels like a filter or something, bro. It's just different than the city.
Taking in them deep breaths. So I know we've been keeping y'all on edge, but it's finally we about to introduce it, okay? So the purification process, I like to say awakening the true essence of self, right? But it starts, I like to say it starts with the mental. You cannot execute anything if your mind isn't right to go do it. They always say, oh, the physical on the outside, which you can see, can dictate how a person is. But no, you'll never know if somebody's on their last day. It all depends, and it starts in the mind, right? Everybody doesn't tell you everything. You might see one perspective of me or one perspective of Jordan, but you don't know the full story. Anybody can be going through some things that you'll never know. You'll never know. And so the first part is getting your mind right. Getting your mind right will connect you to the physical. And that's what ingestion, what you're going to put in your system. That's number 2, the physical part of it. Being health conscious like we've been speaking of. And that will, I like to say, help us make our light brighter.
Yep.
Right? The light gets brighter, and then other people's light get brighter because your light getting brighter. Right? And once again, when people, they say, become famous or become professional athletes, it's like they figured out how to unlock their potential, and they had mastery with their focus. And they aimed that focus straight forward at what they wanted in life, and they kept going until they got it. Yeah. Right? But that takes a mental strength. Mm-hmm. Mental strength, and, a lot of times they're focused on their health.
Yeah, and you definitely got to have the vision. The whys, that's like the ingredients to the purification process.
Mm-hmm.
Before using the tools, you got to know what you're working with. Like when you cooking something, you got the recipe. The first thing you need to look on the list is what are the ingredients I need? Why do I, if I want to get to here, what do I have to do? Why do I feel this way? And just get into the root of it.
Yeah. Yep, 100% agree. Because once again, we have to be more aware. Awareness is the key.
Awareness. Oh my. Go
No, go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Awareness, comprehension as well.
I
Because you
agree.
can see something, but perception, man, you'll see it in 5 different ways, like in due time.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you may not like it, but doing some puzzles from time to time will help you gain perspective because now you're looking at things from different angles. I had a series of time where I was doing a lot of different puzzles, and I'd be like, man, this puzzle don't have all the pieces. It don't have all the pieces. I've been looking at this and I cannot find this piece, and I didn't scroll through all of them. And then I'll be like, let me take a break. Let me go eat some food. Let me come back to this puzzle tomorrow. And then I'll come back to the puzzle tomorrow, look at it from a different perspective, and be like, man, there was the piece right there. I had to turn it a few times, and I put it in there. I'm like, man, I started thinking about life a lot different. I can't look at something from one view. I have to look at it from multi angles.
All angles. Yeah.
All angles. And so once again, you have the mental aspect of getting you in that mind process to dedicate yourself with hardcore focus on what is it that I want out of my life. Do I want to change my life? Do I want to transform my life? How do I do that? Once again, what's the ingredients?
Yep. And it's not a part-time thing. You can't just do it in front of people and then by yourself fuck around. Like, man, I've done that. I've done it myself too before I really started taking the steps. You got to embody it. If you really want change and if you really dream for that, why are you doing everything else but your dream? You have to drop everything for your dream. You here because you have a dream.
Yeah. If you don't like something, figure out how to change it. You don't like how you live, and figure out how to reach out to your resources. There's always somebody that's probably doing what you want to do or has already done it. That's why it's good to have mentors. It's good to connect to other people because, once again, it's hard to do things by yourself. But you do have to do some soul searching within yourself to actually know what it is that you want. Because a lot of people, they're like, I don't know what I want to do. So what, you just going to be a bump on a log, live with your family your whole life? I'm not saying living with your family is not a good thing, but you have to have some type of passion to give you purpose to live.
And you got to think outside the box too. Most people aren't going to follow what they really want to do. So they're going to judge you for that, and they're projecting how they feel about themselves. So you can't even let it get to you. You got to drop how people see you when you're doing this, because you're going to mess up. You're not going to be your best when it comes to performing things when you're following your dreams. So, man, just drop what your care to, like, how people see you.
Exactly, right. That judgment factor, right? The judgment factor, and even accepting failure. Failure is okay. It's a fast way to learn and go forward. I don't like to say I had success all the time, right? But my failures helped me succeed. Without failure, I couldn't get success, right? And so people don't know how to accept their mistakes. Accept your mistakes and just say, this is not bad. I just got to improve. I always say when I have a kid one day, I want to try to avoid using the words good and bad. How about let's improve, let's get better. You're at this level 1 right now, and that's okay. We all start level 1 in all these areas of these skill sets, but you can get better the more you focus and the more you say, I want to get better. I want to be better at this. And guess what, Dad or Mom? I want to continue to grow and try to get to a point where I'm really good at this. And then what happens next? Once you become really good at something, I feel like you got a personal thing that you need to give back to people. Yep. Like, you got to teach it now. What's the point of dying with this beautiful skill set that you just got? Give it back. Because if you can, well, I'm sorry to cut you off. If you know something really well, the levels of understanding, understanding, overstanding, that means you can teach it. But if you can't teach it, I don't know for sure if you know it really well.
And applied nonsense is more effective than unapplied information, like unapplied high-level information. So if you're learning all this stuff and you're not really going out there for yourself, if you're going off of other people's experiences, you're never really going to get what you were looking for out of it. And you'll feel lost still. You'll still be searching for, like, your vision and what you really want and how to purify.
Yep. And it's just like, I would say the third part, you got the mental, the physical. The third part of the purification process is understanding the elements. nature, the ground that's underneath your feet, the sun, the water. Like there's elements in this world that can apply our field, our bodies, and rise us up to our enhance our temple. Right. As an important thing that I do all the time that I try to get other people to do is go outside in nature, in the grass, take your socks off, take your shoes off. Like I think when we're kids, we're babies, we want to do that. We don't even want to put on socks. We don't want to put
It's
on shoes. We just want to be out there in nature with, as little as possible.
playing in the mud.
Exactly.
That's how you got immune. You got dirty.
Yeah, and you took in certain things and it helped enhance your body. But with the art of walking on the ground with bare feet, it's called grounding, or some say call it earthing. Look into that, you guys. But it just has many benefits. It's just they call it Mother Earth for a reason. The Earth is gonna give you things that you need to help you. And
The
so go ahead, sorry.
the ground is electromagnetic. So when you put your feet in the ground, the earth itself sucks out the negative energy, the negative ions that are traveling through your body, and recycles it into photon energy and brings it throughout the rest of your vessel. And that's how it amplifies your magnetic field. That's why when you're around nature, just think next time you're around a whole bunch of trees or just by a river or something, pay attention to the thoughts that come to you, because a lot of the times the setting is very important. You'll think differently in the city compared to being with yourself or being around birds. Like even just it's a big factor, the influence factor.
Exactly. It's an easy way to clear your mind, right? That we hear this all the time. Go outside, get some fresh air. You need to cool down, right? And so when people are out in fresh air or they're in nature, it helps them channel their thoughts. A lot of people like to write. They like to take notes. They like to really focus on how do I improve my life. And the best ways to do that sometimes is they out by a waterfall. They out, putting their feet in the ground with the trees, with nature, embracing it. And I believe, me personally, I believe the nature around me is helping me in that sense to say, Marquise, you needed this. You need to get out more. Go out here more because you're in this environment and a lot of people, they aren't purifying, they're not cleansing, they're not detoxing to raise their vibrations, to live the lives they want to live. Because I feel with the purification type process through the mental, physical, and spiritual, you will start to get the things that you want because you're living at a certain frequency that's in line with what you want. But you can't get there if you're putting these bad things in your system and you don't have the right friends around you. You don't have the right circle. You're not watching the right things on TV or listening to the right kind of music. You will be what your choices make you be.
And most people take the initiative to better themselves only when they feel like shit, like when they're not doing good.
Yeah.
So once you can get out of the fact of like you have to heal only when you're doing bad. If you do it when you're good, you're just building yourself up. Why do you have to wait till you go all the way down to here to want to do better for yourself? Because if you kept it consistent, you could reach levels that you never visualized at first. Because shit, man.
Yeah, no, it's facts, bro. Like we don't know how powerful we are or how amazing, how wise. The things that we can unlock within us is boundless, limitless. I don't even know what we can't unlock or what we can't reach. Even the word limit, that's something you put on yourself. So technically we're limitless. And that all, go ahead, sir.
A lot of this stuff gets brought out of you. A lot of your potential is when you're going through the harsh times, because it kind of balances it. Like, why do you need all this energy if you're not going through the pressure? Like, that's why people say pressure makes diamonds. You can't find pearls unless you go to the bottom of the ocean. You got to dig to find the treasure.
Yep. I agree. And I wanted to touch on something you said earlier, like you basically saying why only when we feel bad do we have to think about being good, right? And so I remember, I see a lot of people, they're got diseases or they're sick and they have to change their diets. Right, they have to change what they consume on a day to day, and they portray it all the time in movies and shows. Oh, such and such, you have this, so you're gonna have to start eating more greens. You're gonna have to start doing a liquid diet, this and that, and this will help your body recover. Right, and that makes me think, why get sick then be healthy?
Yeah.
Why not be healthy to prevent getting sick?
Yeah, because shit.
It just it
Nah.
doesn't make sense, right? And so once again, once we become aware of these things and we look at the word healthy, which has heal in it, and diet, which has die in it, it's just like stop using certain words and just adapt a healthier lifestyle in your life. Because once again, it won't only affect you to the utmost highest of levels, but it'll affect people around you. It might even help you choose your spouse.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You see, she ain't really thinking before she talking. That ain't a healthy mindset. What she eating? She eat all that McDonald's and blah, blah, blah. Ooh, I don't know about all that. And so, because you want to attract somebody that's somewhat like-minded like you. Because if you get together with somebody that's like-minded like you, now y'all can manifest things way faster. Y'all have same type of visions. And think about the kids. Y'all on the same page. The kids is going to evolve way before y'all did. And that's that generational change that we want. We change ourselves to affect the younger generation. And then the younger generation helps the world evolve. Yeah. And that's powerful. That's very, very powerful. And once again, that keeps us on that road to becoming the best versions of ourselves. Yeah. And so I think we hit it. I think we wrapped up and we try to, once again, you guys, transmute this information to y'all because we live it all the time and our mindset is on it every day. We're constantly learning. No way, shape, or form do we got it all.
And we're not perfect. Like, because we're talking about stuff like this, like purification, we're going through all directions of the spectrum. We're talking about what we learned from it, though. So when we speak, we're talking about how we applied ourselves in those certain circumstances. And nothing is going to be perfect. There's always going to be dark sides of everything. So just being accepting of who you are and that just don't judge. Nobody's perfect, bro. So just be yourself.
Be yourself and understand the full yin and yang. Live above them both. You know what I mean? Accept it as a whole. There's a coin with two sides, but it's still one coin. So learn to love yourself more. That's got to be important because without loving yourself on a high level, none of these things can be reached that we're talking about. These things were reached or still continuing to be reached because we said, let's take more importance of ourselves. And we do want to live up to our dreams and our biggest goals in our lives, but we cannot do that if we don't take the importance of ourselves. So once again, our big message that we want to give to you guys today is just love yourself a little bit more today and always, always continue to strive to be the best version of yourself. Yep.